What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting, and today we're going to do a 1-hour stash busting cosmetics bag. Let's get started. So to begin, let's just talk about supplies, right? Supplies is everything that we have in our closet. So I've got a strip of batting here, probably from one of our older projects. This is a little bit smaller than a fat quarter of whatever the lining of my bag is going to be. I found a little bit of a zipper by the foot that I happen to have left over, which matched my lining. That's why I did it like that. And finally, scraps, okay? Stash buster. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just kind of lay everything out, see what we've got going on here. So at this point we go right on into sewing, which is super fun about this project. I'm going to take my batting scrap and we're going to do the flip and sew method to be able to sew and essentially quilt all this all at the same time. So I'm going to first cut off a piece of this and I'm going to lay it across the corner of my piece of batting here. And I'm going to just give it a little nice stitch here. Everything else from here will be hiding the stitches. This is the only stitch that we won't hide because it's the starting stitch. Give it just a little bit less than a 1/4 inch seam. Again, it's just because we're starting out here. It literally does not matter how wacky you sew this thing. If your lines are crooked, it does not matter. So next I'm going to grab my next piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down right sides together. And when I sew my 1/4 inch seam, it's gonna hide the seam below it, and I'll flip it over to reveal the print. And I would highly recommend everyone just keep your iron hot and iron as you go here. And we're gonna just keep on doing this flip and sew method. What's really cool about this is, as you can see, I'm creating more scraps here. So you can take this exact same concept and shrink it down to make a second smaller bag if you'd like. So guys, we've just finished up going all the way down that piece of batting. Let me show you guys what we're looking at here. And I'll show you the back side as well. And don't worry, if you accidentally sewn in a piece or two, no one will ever see them. But now it's time to trim this all up. So I'm gonna just cut off this here. Now that we've got ourselves a piece here, it's time to cut this into 2 10-inch squares. If you have a large enough chunk here, I'm gonna grab a square ruler. Just like that. I see a lot of people who try to just layer them. Don't. Take the time to cut 2 really nice squares, because this is really the fundamental body of the bag. And just like that, we have our matching 10-inch squares. The only other cutting we have to do before we assemble this bag is our lining. 2 10-inch squares as well. What you should have is 2 10-inch squares for the body, 2 10-inch squares for the lining, and a zipper. And it's time to start assembling this bag. The assembly of this is so simple. With zipper side up, we're going to take the body of our bag and lay it directly down on top of it. And now put a lining piece right sides together directly below. So it's going to look just like this here. I like to use Wonder Clips and clip all 3 layers together. Now we're going to sew directly down all 3 layers, and a little trick here. I'm going to drop my foot and push it right up against my zipper here. This is not an invisible zipper, we're not trying to hide the zipper. We're just going to put it right next to it and sew all the way down. And I try to get as snug as possible. If you have a zipper foot, use a zipper foot. Don't forget your back stitch. And then we can kind of reveal that we've sewn that zipper right in there. So we've got our very first side of the body, a lining in the back. Now we're going to repeat this process to the other side. So I'm going to take my lining, and we want to make sure that all of our layers are lined up. The biggest thing is we don't want to like shift it over away from the first piece that we put on, or else the bag won't line up properly. Now I'm also going to just look at this and make sure my stripes are going the same direction. 2, and bless you. Don't forget that back stitch. Could you do it one more time for me?
I'm so sorry.
So I want to flatten these the best that I can. Now it's time to do kind of the assembly here. I'm going to take it, put them right sides together. And I'm going to sew all the way around, but not sewing the lining down. So we're going to just sew the body of the bag all the way up to the zippers and even past the zipper a little bit to then seal that off. Then we'll be able to do the lining. Now, always remember, just pull in that zipper pull a little bit before you get too happy there. And we're going to go ahead and start sewing. Turn at the corners. I did a back stitch on my corner just to be safe. I've sewn all the way around the body of my bag, sewn the zipper into place as well. I do have the lining that's still just open. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off my zipper. Same thing on this side. So what I like to do is only sew down two sides of the bag. I want a hole about 3 inches big on one side. You can also put it at the bottom of the bag. You can put it anywhere you like, but I'm gonna leave about 3 inches open on my right side here. Gone all the way around, left an opening here. That way I can turn the bag right side out. But before we do the turning of the bag, I like to put some box corners into my bag. That way it can stand up on its own. Start with the body of the bag. You're gonna separate both sections and then flatten it down so that the seam is resting on top of itself on both sides. And you're gonna just take it onto your sewing machine. I have a little mark here for 1 inch. So I'm gonna just put a 1 inch box on mine. By box, all I mean is you literally just sew straight across the seam here, and I'll show you what I mean. So all I've done is measured 1 inch from my tip down and sewn directly across that line. I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. Now I've done it on the body of my bag. I'm going to repeat the same process to the lining of the bag. We can cut out the extras here. Give it about a 1/4 inch away from the seam allowance. And now it's time to turn this bag right side out. So I'm going to put my hand through the hole that we left. This is the moment of truth where you realize that you forgot to, put the zipper pull. It happens, guys, it happens to the best of us. Then we're going to take this and we're going to grab the bottom of our body of the bag and start pulling it right side out. So at this point, most people get really happy about what their bag's looking like. You're almost to the finish. And everyone forgets to poke out the edges of your body. So make sure you put your hand back into the bag and really, really push out the points in the bottom of your bag. Now we're gonna take the zipper and fold it up towards the top of the bag, and then the lining gets pushed down inside. But before we push it inside, we have to fix that hole that we have here. And what I always do is I just take it, fold it over itself just a little bit, and I give it a tiny, tiny top stitch. And normally I would be doing this in a red color to match my lining. And all I did was put a tiny, tiny stitch to seal that up. Once I stuff this inside of here and push it up against the side of my bag, you'll probably never ever see it. And guys, just like that, we finished up our 1 pouch bag, which we use for a cosmetic bag, for cables, chocolates, candies, whatever you like. This is one of those things that you need in your arsenal because you always need one more little bag to fit your things in. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we hope you enjoyed this 1-hour stash busting project. And reality-wise, it can be done in an hour, hour and a half, no problems. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. Not only that, check out some of our other videos where we teach you how to sew like a pro, and we'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.